Hello. Today, our objective is that we are going to show and tell time to the nearest 5 minutes using analog and digital clocks. So let's quickly go back to an analog clock and label its parts. We know that an analog clock is one that has a face like this, right? We start with the 12 and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 12, okay? Then there's hands. Right? We have a small hand and we have a large hand. The large, longer hand is the minute hand. And the smaller, shorter hand is the hour hand. And one way that I always remember this, I was taught this when I was little, is to look at the lengths of the words, right? We have hour and minute. Hour is shorter than minute. The word hour is shorter than minutes. It's only 4 letters. Minute is 6 letters, right? So the shorter word gets the shorter hand. Okay, so that's one way that you can remember that the short hand is the hour hand. That's going to tell us what the hour is. Okay, some clocks have this hand right here. Not all clocks do, but this hand tells us the seconds. Okay, we're not going to worry about seconds. We're going to worry about hours and minutes. Something that we also have to notice is that these tell us the hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are hours. We have to we still look at these numbers for minutes, but we don't say if the minute hand is right here on the 2, it's not 2 minutes, right? It's actually 10. And we get this by starting at 12 and counting on by fives. Because if you look at these little tick marks, just like a number line, there's 5 tick marks between 12, which is actually 0, and then 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is actually 5 minutes. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the 2 is actually 10 minutes. So we skip count by fives to figure out the minutes. So this was 0, right? Because it starts at o'clock, which is 0. And then we count by fives. So 5, 10, we can actually write them to make it a little bit clearer. So I'm making it a little bit bigger. We'll write in, so 5. The 2 is 10, right? 10 minutes. 15. And you continue by counting by fives. 20. 25. 30. 35. 40. 45. 50. 55. And this actually is 60, right? But we don't ever say the time as 60 minutes when we're telling time. We don't say it's 11:60, right? We would say it's 12 o'clock. When we get to the number 60, it's actually starting from 0, right? We get back to the 0. So we say 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, when 60 minutes in an hour, but we actually say that that is 0, right? It's o'clock. All right. Sorry. Okay. So if we look at this clock right here, the hour is 10, right? So the shorthand is right here, and the hour is pointing at 10. 10, and then we do these 2 little dots, right? And then we look at the minute hand, and the minute hand's on 2, so we know we skip count by 5. So 5, 10, which we have labeled right here. The 2 is 10. So the time is actually 10, 10. All right, let's try a few more of these together. All right, so steps to tell time. Step 1 is you look at the small hand, the shorter hand, right, to find the hour. We said the shorter hand tells the hour. So this blue hand is for step 1. That's the shorter hand, and that tells us the hour. What is the last number the hour has passed? The hour hand passed. Okay. I like this clock because it shows that when the hour hand is from this 12 all the way up until right before it hits the 1, all of that time is actually 12. Right? 1 goes from here all the way until the the hour hand hits the 2. Same with right here. The 2 starts right here, right? It's 2 o'clock, and it will still be 2 o'clock until the hour hand gets all the way straight onto this line. So from the 2 all the way right until it hits this line. Okay, so right now, if we look at this hour hand, that hour hand is pointing directly at the 3. So the hour is 3. Okay, then we look at the minute hand. This minute hand is pointing directly at 12. And before, remember, we skip counted by 5s. But what is this right here? Right here, it's always 0. Okay, 0, which is actually 2 zeros when we're telling time, right? 0, 0. So no minutes have passed in the hour. So right now it is 3 o'clock. Okay, so step 2 is to look at the big hands and you count on by 5s, right? Then you can count on by 1s, but that's only if it's past a minute hand, right? So we're going to count on by 5s. Okay, now let's try it again. First, step 1 is we're going to look at this hour hand, the short hand. Where is the hour hand? It's between the 7 and the 8. So do we go with the 7 or the 8? Do we say, oh, look, it's closer to the 8? Do we go with the 8? No. Okay. It has not touched the 8 line yet. This line right here, that's 8. Is that hour hand? If it starts here and it goes all the way around, it did not touch that 8 yet. So it's 7 o'clock from when it hits this 7 all the way until it hits the 8. So all of this point right here, it's still 7 o'clock. So that is the 7 o'clock hour. So the hour is 7. Okay. Now we have to go and look at the minute hand. Okay. How many minutes have passed past 7? Let's see. It's on the 9. We know we can skip count by 5s. You can say 9 times 5 is, maybe you know that. Maybe you could skip count by 5s on your finger, or you can use a clock, right? 9 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So the minute is 45. So not 7:45. All right, let's try another. Okay, let's look at this again. Step 1, look at the hour hand. What's the last hour that it has passed? Okay, again, this is in between the 10 and the 11, right? So is it 10 o'clock or is it 11 o'clock? Well, remember, it didn't hit the 11 yet. So it's still 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock from when it hits this line right here. Right here. Here's the 10 o'clock line, right? All the way until it hits the 11 o'clock line. Once it hits this line, it's 11 o'clock. But right now, it's 10 o'clock up until it hits that line. All of this time. So if it's in this yellow section, it's 10 o'clock. So the hour is 10. And then the minutes, let's go look at our minute hand. It's on the 5. I could say, 5 times 5 is, maybe you know, maybe you have to skip count by 5s. Skip count by 5, start at 12, right? This is 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25. We can skip count by 5s and get 25. So the time is 10:25. Okay, now what I want you to do is to go try the independent practice and try telling time to the nearest 5 minutes all by yourself. Remember, start with the hour hand, the shorter hand. Hour is shorter than minute, right? The shorter hand is the hour hand. Start with the hour hand. What is the hour? Okay, remember, up until it passes that number, it has to pass a number for it to be that hour. Once it goes past the number, then it's that hour again. But remember, if it's in between the 1 and the 2, it's still 1 o'clock. If it's in between the 2 and the 3, it's still 2 o'clock, right? It's 2 o'clock all in this blue section. Okay. So don't let that trick you. I know sometimes that we can get tricked easily by that. Don't let that trick you. And then when we're counting the minutes, you just skip count by fives. And remember, 12 is really 0, okay? We don't say the time is 10:60, right? It would be 10 o'clock. Okay, so go and try your independent practice all by yourself.